Look who came to visit. Hey, Betty. How you doing? Kisses. Hey there. This is a video. I'm gonna always start my videos, I think, saying I think that's just gonna have to be how it is. It's gonna be a hey there. Can we just all agree that that's how it's gonna be, and it's gonna be fine. This is a super quick reminder to like and subscribe if that's something you want to do. If that's not something you want to do, I'm sorry for the interruption. I'll shut up and start talking now. So, hey there. I was not planning on recording this video. In fact, I'd recorded something already that I've been working on uploading. I'll just go ahead and tell you guys. I've been working on my first episode of PR Pro Bono, which I say that like it's some big production, but it's actually a pretty short video, so it shouldn't take long to put up. However, this came to me and I decided that I wanted to make this a priority in terms of when I upload. So that will probably be coming either over the weekend or early next week, because I felt that it was important to talk about this now. So some of you may know that my channel is very new. If you look at the created date for my channel, it was created, I think, back in 2007 when I started watching YouTube videos. But in terms of this style of video where I sit down and actually talk to an audience, I think I made my first video late January. But it was exactly a month ago today that one of my videos started to gain traction. And from there, I saw this huge burst of growth on my channel, and that's what really catapulted me into this part-time gig that I've come to love so much. As of today, I think I'm at about 12.k followers, which still qualifies me as a small channel, of course, but at the same time, I'm nobody. So 12,000 people having decided to not only watch a video, but to click a subscribe button is insane to me. And I'm so grateful to those of you that watch, not only for the content that focuses on other creators, but for watching the content that is about me. And if you're watching this, you're probably one of those subscribers. And to those of you, I am the most grateful for. So, about a month ago, I uploaded a video where I really talked about anxiety and depression as it had recently shown up in my life. And when I made that video, I had been coming down from my last anxiety attack, more or less. The anxiety attack happened earlier in the afternoon. I recorded later in the evening, but that was more or less the last time that I experienced an intense amount of anxiety. And since then, I've really been on such a high for many reasons. One of them being this YouTube stuff, and for other reasons in my personal life, I've just felt like everything has kind of fallen into place, and I've been feeling amazing. And I thought for sure my anxiety attacks and feelings of depression were gone for the foreseeable future. Not so. So as you can imagine, just being vulnerable enough to put yourself in front of a camera and upload that to the internet for millions of people to have access to, it puts a person in a vulnerable place and opens a person up to not only criticism and feedback, but hate, mean comments, argument, all that icky stuff that turns a lot of people off from YouTube and makes a lot of people afraid to start a YouTube channel. And at first, when I saw that first little burst of growth, there were a couple days here and there where the hate comments, let me backtrack. The scrutiny I'm talking about is especially true for creators that come on here to create videos like I do, commentary videos. The basis of the commentary community is being able to watch videos and really synthesize what we consume into. Look who came to visit. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Kisses? No kisses today, unfortunately. I kind of lost track. Sorry about that. But yes, the basis of this style of video is to be able to consume content, to gather information from whatever community we are following, and from that, analyze what we see and boil that down to some sort of thoughtful commentary, criticism, analysis, and insight. And really, anytime you talk about any public figure, that does open you up to criticism. And I recognize that. I recognize that going into this. I recognize that now, and I've recognized that every step of the way. And hopefully you guys have been able to see how I handle criticism, and not to toot my own horn, but I like to think that I handle it well. At the very least, I encourage respectful discord. I am more than okay with you guys disagreeing with me on topics, and typically I will have some sort of mutually respectful response, and those conversations tend to go well, and I tend to even make friends out of those conversations. So going back to when I first started experiencing negative comments, a month ago, when my channel started to experience a burst of growth, I experienced mean comments for the first time. As to be expected, I created a video that was all about Gabby Hanna and shining a light on her scandals and controversies. And I had a lot of stands with a lot of negative things to say to me. And I think there were a couple of days that it started to get to me, it started to weigh me down. And thankfully I had my boyfriend there to act as my rock and kind of ground me and bring me back down to earth and remind me that I still am who I am, that these comments don't define me. You know, to take from comments what is valuable and learn from them, but to not feel defined by those, especially those that are mean. So over the past month, oh, there we go. We see Oliver in the background again. I don't know. Once I edit this, you might not. But so over the past month, I've been able to roll with the punches. Although I've always known myself to be a somewhat sensitive person, I felt that I handled the criticism, the discord, and the hate pretty well. And there were times where things got stressful, but never unmanageable, I felt. Until all of this happened that we're all going through now, or at least I hope we are all distancing ourselves, staying at home, the whole 9 yards. I don't know what exactly I'm allowed to say here with the guidelines around this issue, but being home this week has taken a toll on my mental health, I've noticed. Now, aside from Oliver and Atticus, I live alone. And here and there, I get to work from home. I really do. I do love spending time in my home. I love my apartment. I love getting a chance to make these videos. I love spending quiet time here with the cats. And at first, this week, it gave me a couple of days to really get caught up on the YouTube stuff, to get caught up on apartment stuff, cleaning, rearranging, all of that. And even to get ahead with all this social media stuff, I felt like I was able to get a lot done that I will not be able to do once I am back in an office full time. So yeah, Monday, Tuesday or so, I would say were great. Now, earlier in the week, Sunday, I posted a video that was essentially my response to the spat that was going on between Trisha Paytas and Anthony Padilla directly after Trisha's first video about dissociative identity disorder. And My purpose in my video was not to speak to DID. It was not to speak to Dissociated. It wasn't to speak to Anthony Padilla's show. It was really just what I wanted to say about how we mental health advocates treat the mental health of other people. That's it. Trisha Paytas happened to be the subject of this video, and as such was sort of my example for an opportunity to extend consideration and compassion and open-mindedness. And then a couple days later, she posts another video that was so atrociously offensive that I was humiliated. And I knew that my days of supporting Trish, at least in the way that I had been, being open-minded, that those days were over. I posted another follow-up video that really set out to express that I was done with Trish. That was the point of the video. And in that video, I did offer a couple of minor criticisms to Anthony Padilla, things that I took from his show. I don't know if I feel exactly the same way as I did when I made that video, but either way, they weren't major criticisms. They really just had a lot to do with editing and how he speaks to his guests. Nothing that I saw as a really big deal. But what has happened this week, increasingly more and more, with that first video that I mentioned, I did get a lot of hate. And I knew that my intentions were pure. I knew that what I was standing for was good. I knew that any hate sent my way, any discord, what have you, had to have been rooted in either I didn't get my message across properly, or there is just an ideological difference between me and the people leaving me those comments. Either way, I knew that I meant well. With this most recent video, a lot of people expressed to me that they were glad I made a follow-up, that it helped them to feel a lot better about where I stand on these issues, and I'm so grateful for that. I'm so grateful that I was able to right some of those wrongs. But about half my comments on that video have been about how I offered those minor criticisms to Anthony Padilla. And I will say that his fans commenting on my video offered their criticisms, their feedback, their disagreements very respectfully. While I wish that weren't the focus of my video, I am very grateful for how they get that message across. That says a lot about him as a creator and the type of audience he attracts. And I will reiterate here where I said there, I do think that he is doing a lot of good with his channel. I like the content he's putting out. I'm on his side of this matter. Those minor criticisms were really just something that I think any creator should be open to. As an example, one of you pointed out to me that I look off camera a lot while I speak, and that it's distracting. Totally valid, 100% valid. It's something I'm working on. I think that it probably is somewhat akin to how I speak naturally, how I make eye contact naturally. So maintaining eye contact with the camera feels very unnatural. It feels as if I'm staring at someone, except for it's not a someone, it's a something. So that is something I'm being mindful of, and I am incorporating that feedback into my videos. And that's just one example. There's a lot of feedback that I've gotten that's a little harder to take, but I hope that I have shown you guys that I can take well-meaning feedback. That all said, all of this starts to take a toll on a person, I think. Especially because this is so new for me, and based on what I'm hearing from you all, I'll just say it. The way I shoot my videos is of a production value that one would expect of a creator with more subscribers and more views. And so I do think that I am attracting more viewers than I've been trained to handle, if that makes sense. And I don't know if anybody has really ever trained or learns how to adapt to this very strange and unnatural way of communicating with each other. But this is all a way of just saying that while I feel I've handled a lot of these negative interactions well, kind of apologize where I feel I need to, educate where I feel like I need to, ignore where I need to, or I try at least, and have maintained a pretty happy-go-lucky disposition despite all of it. But I think it starts to just kind of pile on in the background. Up until now, the worst I've experienced is a day or two here where I think my comment section is just a stressful place right now. It's not a bad place. It's not a hostile place. It's just stressful. All the conversations and bickering that's going on, it's noisy, and it's something that I can only visit for a little while at a time. And I think I broke today. Now, I am fully recognizing that this quarantine, the social distancing, plays a huge role in all of this. Those of us with mental health issues, particularly anxiety and depression, which is very common, and are also common issues that people with other disorders deal with. For those of us, isolation is pretty dangerous. And interacting with people virtually is not enough to satisfy that part of us that requires social interaction. I don't have all the science with me, but I think it has something to do with an exchange of oxytocin, which is something that requires essentially face-to-face interaction. I don't know if it's oxytocin. If you know, feel free to correct me in the comments, but there is a need for face-to-face interaction, and we simply can't get that so much right now. And I am not knocking this necessary movement to flatten the curve of this problem. This is so necessary. So I started to wonder how I could better foster my mental health, perhaps a little too late. Today, as I was finishing up my workday, I really started to just feel uneasy. I couldn't quite place my finger on what was going on with me. I just knew that I felt weird. I felt icky, and I thought, you've been holed up in your apartment all day. Go for a walk. It was a beautiful day today, so as soon as the workday was over, I decided to get up, go for a walk. I needed to get something at CVS anyway, so I thought I'll go for a short walk, enjoy the weather, and hopefully that'll kind of breathe a little life into me and kind of help me to feel a little more at ease. I got out and it wasn't really helping. I saw a homeless man right in front of CVS, and while I didn't have any cash to give him, I figured when I was inside, I'll pick up some snacks for him. But honestly, in a selfish way, because I have learned about how giving to others can benefit our mental health, and I needed something. So I picked up what I needed. Oh, I also wanted to just treat myself. That's something else that I decided to do. I said, you know what, go for a walk and treat yourself to a new lipstick. I actually hate wearing lipstick. If you check out my Instagram, shameless plug, you'll see that I never really wear it. But for videos, I freaking love lipstick. So I decided I'm going to treat myself. Maybe that'll help give me a little boost. Picked up this color. The information will be in the description as it always is. But yeah, so I decided to pick up a little something for myself. I picked up some snacks for this man that was outside. Stepped outside, gave him the snacks. We had a brief but positive exchange. And of course, I felt good about being able to do that. But walking away, I just kind of felt crappy. I think I might have started feeling some anxiety mounting, but I just knew that I felt uncomfortable. So I almost was desperate for an opportunity to help people on my way home, to see if I could get that feeling that I've connected with people and thus I'll make it another 24 hours or so. Thankfully, I'm going to see my boyfriend tomorrow and he'll be here for the weekend, so I'm probably going to be mostly off the internet and really kind of taking some time to connect with him, which I'm so looking forward to. But he was not here for me today. Hello, I'm talking to you. I'm kidding. Like, he was at work and he lives in another city, so. But I was desperate to connect. There were some people moving furniture. I thought that I would take a moment to hold the door and help them while they did that, thinking that that little deed might help satisfy that need in me. And I got into my apartment and I still felt the same. I still felt uneasy. I felt frustrated that I tried to do what I could and it didn't seem to be helping. And eventually this all started to mount. And I did have to take my medication for this, which is not something I have to do often. But I realized I was in a full-fledged panic attack. I took my medication. I broke down crying at one point. I reached out to a couple of people that were able to kind of help me talk through some of this stuff. And I'm so grateful for those of you in my life that are sources of positivity and support. But it was rough. And although I had medication to aid in getting through this panic attack, it still took some time. And it still took patience, which, if you've ever had a panic attack, is the opposite of what a person is able to conjure during a panic attack, is patience. And yet, ironically, that is what we need in those moments. So I did my best to stay patient through this panic attack. And it really got me thinking that while being on YouTube now as a creator has been such an enjoyable experience, it can be very, very damaging to one's mental health, and in particular to my mental health. And I need to do something to make sure that I'm managing that. I don't know if I mentioned this before, and I don't even know if it matters, but like I said, a lot of the comments in my last video were people who were somewhat offended or just disagreed with me on my criticisms towards Anthony Padilla. So I really felt like I was spending so much of my day responding to these comments, clarifying what I meant, apologizing for coming across a certain way or making people feel a certain way, neutralizing the situation, and really trying to find some common ground and stress to people that I do think positively about this creator. And while a lot of those interactions went well, I think it still just takes a toll. I think it's just still feels like a lot of apologizing. And to feel drained from having to give apologies, I don't think says anything bad about you as a person, but I think that that's human nature. And I might have said that. And if I said that, I'm sorry. I'm not working off notes here. I'm really just kind of flying by the seat of my pants. But yeah, I'm learning the life of a creator has so many elements that can be either damaging if not managed properly. And that is something that is going to have to be my next step in this journey, is figuring out how to foster my mental well-being while still creating this content and still connecting with you guys, because that is not something I'm ready to give up. I've said this before and I mean it now. I'm so in love with YouTube. I am so in love with connecting with you guys. I'm so in love with creating my own content and sharing that with the world and getting to see my finished products. I love this process so much. I love the disagreements that turn into friendships. And then the miracle happened, I think. So if you guys watched my video about anxiety and depression about a month ago, I talked about how I was feeling this way, and right at the tail end of my anxiety attack, I was contacted by a young woman from an AA meeting who was seeking my advice on how to get detoxed and start a program of recovery. If you're new to all this, I'm an alcoholic in recovery. I am 7.5 years sober. So that opportunity to connect with a newcomer or somebody who is looking to get sober was really, really beneficial in my mental well-being. And that is why I wanted to send a message forward to any of you who may be in need of help. Let somebody help you. Reach out to somebody. You never know who is in a place where they need the opportunity to help someone. And that was so beneficial for me. So, fast forward to today. Actually, we're going to rewind a little bit. In a couple of my recent videos, I have talked about first an interaction I had with somebody in my comments that I presumed might be a child, that I confirmed was a child, had this conversation back and forth, turned the conversation around, turned it into something positive, hoping that I had a positive impact on this child's life, which was great. Then, in my most recent update, I shared that I found out that this child was in a pretty bad place emotionally. And I'm not going to go into it any more than that. This child was just in a bad place, and my heart was breaking. I wanted updates. I wanted to get in touch with them. I left comments on this person's video saying, hey, I'm on Instagram, I'm on social media, I'd love to chat. Reach out to me if you can. I would really love to talk to you. And this evening, as I was trying to come down from this panic attack, thinking about recording this video, I got a little message request on Facebook that this child wanted to talk to me. So I was ecstatic. I was so happy. I was so excited to get a chance to talk to this kid. So yeah, I told them to make sure that they ask their parents before chatting with me. I even said, hey, I'd love to talk to your mom if she's available, just to make sure she knows that I am me. I just want to chat about what's been going on, that I'm a good guy. And I did get a chance to speak to the mother. But yeah, we had a good conversation. We talked while I did my hair and makeup, and talked about things that were light and just funny. We got to talk about me. We got to talk about their life. Turns out this kid is just brilliant, so talented, and has so many things going on that I just couldn't even imagine in adulthood being able to take on. And yet at 10 years old, it's impressive. So I think you're probably watching. So hi. This new friend helped me pick out the makeup that I'm wearing. So the eye look, the lipstick. So I don't even know if you can really see the eye look. I'll call it a collab, if you will. But I was just delighted to hear that they're doing so well. And here I guess I'll just go ahead and share with you guys. I do have a background in education and working with young kids. My education after high school really kind of was all over the map. I went to MIT for a year, and I was going to become an architect. And then a year later, I can get into the family circumstances in another video, but a year later I decided to transfer to a school closer to home and get my degree in early childhood education. So throughout the rest of my time in college, I was in an education program where I was a student teacher every semester at a different school. And as you've guessed, or I've spoken to before, I don't have children of my own. I don't ever foresee myself wanting children of my own, but I really do miss getting the opportunity to work with children. I'm also the oldest of 4 siblings and the oldest of all of my 20-something cousins. And you may be able to guess this, but in DC, there are not a lot of kids. And I really haven't taken the time to look into mentorship programs. So this was really just a fantastic opportunity to get to connect with a person that did me more good possibly than I did them. So just to let you know, tonight I'm doing much better than I was earlier today. But what I did decide I'd like to do next, and I hope to do this tonight before going to bed, but I think it is a really good idea to create a support group for small creators to offer really just support, particularly emotional support to one another, because I'm finding that this job can be so hard, the hardest sometimes on the most well-meaning people. So I believe I'm going to create a Facebook support group. I will probably make it private, but I will make sure that it is put together before I put up this video so that I can link information in the description and invite any of you who are either thinking about creating a channel or have created a channel to join the group and have a safe place to talk about any frustrations and any struggles you may be going through, and know that you have a place where others understand your struggle and can be there to support you. I think that's so important. I think it furthers our mission to support good mental health, and by God, I know I need it. So look out for that. I'm excited to join some of you over there. And as always, I'm excited to see you guys in the comments. So to you, the one person who's watching who's not me, thank you so much for returning and hearing me out. This was really all about me, I'll admit. So thank you so much for hearing me out. I know a lot of you guys are going to leave me really supportive comments. I know it's pretty presumptuous of me to say this, but I know you guys well enough at this point. So I am looking forward to hearing what you have to say in the comments. You know that I'll be commenting back. So I'll see you there. Bye.